welcome back. It's Christine again with the Artist Pod, and today we'll be talking about how to sketch out a rhinoceros. As always, I'm using a Wacom Intros Pro tablet, and I'm drawing straight into Photoshop. So, let's get arting. Alright, so we're going to draw a rhino. So this is the sketching part. So I always start with just the canvas that's 15 by 18. So, you know, if I come here to image size, 15 by 18 at 300 resolution. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new layer. And I'm going to come up here to edit and then fill. So I'm filling the entire canvas as black. So I always draw in black. Then I'm going to come down here and hit this button again to start a new layer. Come over here to my color selection and switch it to purple. And the reason I use purple is if I use a color that a lot of animals have in their, you know, like white or, you know, brown that animals have in their fur colors or feathers, I can sometimes get confused as to what sketch and what I've actually used as my drawing. So by turning it purple, I don't get confused over what's what. The purple is very clearly the sketch and I can see it very easily. So I'm going to come over to my hard round brush, right, hard round here. The brush tool is set for a size of 15. We're going to get started drawing the rhino. So rhino's eyes are off to the side, right, so we're going to sketch a couple of ovals off to the side. Right, you have the eye, and then I'm going to do like a little bit of an eyelid, and then one roughly the same height on the other side. So the eye, and then the eyelid. Maybe a little bit more. There we go. Now, of course, they have the horn. So horn will be pretty high, and then going up. We might narrow that out because it'll come to a nice sharp point, or not a completely sharp. It's going to be a little bit rounded, but we want it to kind of balance on both sides, so it doesn't right now. Just working it out to make sure it does. Making changes where I need to. Shouldn't be anything big that's changing. The angle of one side coming in too much or going out too much. Right, so this probably needs to actually come out just a little bit more. And then we'll erase that other line. Sketch, so don't mind erasing. Typically when I'm actually doing the full drawing, I won't ever erase because erasing doesn't fully remove it. As you can see, it just sort of lowers its opacity. Alright, now I'm going to have the edge of the face. It's going to be a little blockier than like the rabbit and stuff we've done. So I'm always going to kind of come in by the eyes and then shoot out for cheeks. Now we're going to have nose. So there's typically with a rhino, right, this is kind of coming up a bit, so I don't mind adding a few extra details here, indicating it's coming up, right? And then we have the nose, and then down here, so the nose is kind of rounded on rhinos, and it goes on either side of what is almost like this little block down towards his mouth. And then depending on the rhino species, the mouth is a little different. So we're actually going to do, I don't know what, I think this is, where it has that little dip in the mouth, and then have it come up, and we'll give it a, right, it has that little dip. Not all of them do, sometimes it's a little flatter, right, so this will come down in a little bit of a blockier way for the chin. And then we'll pull this up, maybe not that far up. Pushing it out pretty wide. So we'll pull it up. Their heads are strangely shaped, but purposes of like a kind of a cartoony drawing, you don't have to worry about it as much. So ears are kind of coming off here. I'm going to erase some of that back, and they're very circular. Circular to like a point, and then circular wide back down to another point. roughly the same on the other side, right? You have that wide circle, and I have to make this a little smaller. So I do typically copy it. I don't know why I do that, but I'm going to make it just a smidge smaller so we have enough room here. Right, to a point, and then back up to the other side where that head would continue. So we're going to redo this ear. It's a little rough. We just kind of want them, see that's not a very good, it's not a very good circle, but we can fix that. Kind of just make sure that they're kind of matching a little bit. And they don't have to be perfect because it's more of a cartoon kind of style, right? So there's no need for that kind of perfection. But I do want to make sure I'm cutting it in the right spot, right? So then you have kind of that inner ear for the rhino. And we can even make the horn go up a bit if we wanted to. Give it more of a prominent horn here. And then we can add some eyebrows. And then, you know, rhinos have a lot of curls, or wrinkles. So we'll give it a lot of wrinkles. Kind of has wrinkles going all over the place. Whether we follow all these or not, you know, we'll see. And then we can leave it that way. Can change the face shape however we want. It's kind of how rhinos look, so I'm inclined to say this is good, but one side looks a little blockier than the other, so I'm just trying to fiddle until it looks right. No, I like that. And then we'll do, we'll draw in the whites of the eyes. So we'll, you know, draw in the iris here to make sure there's enough space for that. So rhinos, typically their eyes would be kind of offset to the side, and as I've said before in other videos, anytime you're dealing with an animal whose eyes are off to the side and you're drawing it to be a little bit more cartoony, you're not going to do that. You're going to have it more forward facing to engage with us as the viewer. Now rhinos do have like kind of this weird dip in their head, so we're not going to really draw that out. I'm just debating on the ears. I don't know that it's definitely clearly a rhino, which is great. If they have another horn, it would be behind the first one. Since we have the rhino kind of looking straight out at us, you wouldn't necessarily be able to see it. If it was turned a little to the side, you probably would, but because it's looking straight out at us, you won't be able to see the horn behind, and that horn is typically shorter, so that's something else to keep in mind. If you're drawing a rhino with two horns, the second horn is going to be back here somewhere, and if it's straight on, it's not necessarily looking at us. But I can probably widen the base a bit, make that a little bit more substantial. Okay, so then once again would be erasing out just a little bit. Yeah, looks better. And then just sort of, it's okay to add in a lot of wrinkles on rhinos. You know, there's wrinkling by the lips, there'll be wrinkling elsewhere. I'm gonna redo the ears. Not a fan of what I've done. Because their ears are interesting. Okay, so we're gonna have it coming up, and then we'll have kind of coming down, and then, you know, you have sort of inner ear. Same thing on this side. Have kind of that half circle. Doesn't have to be perfect or match exactly on either side. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. It's that rhino feeling, and then pushing it, you know, a little bit into the head. It depends on how an ear falls on an animal as to where the placement on the head is. If it's, you know, something where it's a little bit further back and the hump of the head would block the ear, then you would draw it a little bit more flush to the head or behind it. If it's, you know, most animals, dogs, cats, anything like that, the ears are going to be a little bit more forward over the hump of the head so that you would pull them into, you know, this line, which is going to make it seem like it's more sort of forward facing. I know we have the nostrils, but, you know, they're going to be also pretty wrinkly right by here. This is the actual space, just to make that clear. Sometimes I find it easier to pre-sketch wrinkles, which is kind of what I'm doing a little bit right now. Right, there'd be some wrinkling on the forehead, probably. Wrinkling as it comes down. And if we opt not to use that, that's fine. But then I don't have to worry about it, you know. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna adjust the ear just a little bit. See, that looks better. Sometimes it can help to get some base in place, like the basic shape, and then make small adjustments from there. Yeah, to make it look more and more correct. Now, something I've thought about doing is taking this and bringing it in and softening the jawline of the rhino. Where I'm hesitating is that rhinos have pretty strong jawlines, so this would only be for cartoon effect and not, I mean, it is a cartoon, so I'm just gonna see what it looks like, if I think it looks any better or not. I do think it looks better. But they have pretty harsh jawlines normally. But, you know, that's the benefit of drawing it in a slightly more cartoon style, is you can make little changes. Makes it look a little younger, I think. And there we go. It's a unicorn. Or a rhino. You know. However you want to call it. Alright, so that's how you sketch out a rhinoceros. I hope that's helpful. In the floating nether next to me, I have other videos of art tutorials I've done, and I will see you all soon. Thank you so much. Take care.